Party Rock is in the house tonight. That's right. It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Your home for scores, highlights, analysis, big-name guests, everything you need on a Texas high school football Friday night. I'm Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Earlier this week, my son said 6'7" to me, and I sent him to his room because I'm a good father. That's Ashley Pickle, Executive Director. Executive Producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Hello.
Hello. I feel like I'm slowly trending towards the old person because I don't understand what that means.
I get it. No. You know what? Nobody does.
And now I think they're adding hand things to it.
Yeah, the youth has to be stopped. And that is the number one goal here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. I'm sorry, no. It's actually high school football across the state of Texas. And Ashley Pickle, a Week 8 slate that we had high hopes for. And I think it's safe to say it delivered, although maybe not in the way that we expected it to.
No, there are some games that we're going to talk about tonight that were absolutely bonkers, and especially in some of our top 10 games of the week. But we're kind of in that part of the season where we're really starting to look towards, okay, who do you think is going to be district champions? Who do you like seeding in the playoffs? All the 6A, obviously, if you're unfamiliar, 6A breaks into 6A Division I and 6A Division II when the playoffs happen. So we're starting to look at enrollment numbers like we're there, and some of these results are truly shocking.
Yeah, one of the things that you're going to find us doing throughout the course of the next 90 minutes as we take you across the state of Texas is trying to zoom in a little bit and what these results actually mean. Because look, we're in the home stretch, guys. It is Week 8. There are 3 weeks of the regular season left. Okay, after tonight. And so we have got to start figuring out what these games actually mean and why they matter. And so that's our job here over the next 90 minutes if you stay along with us. We're going to get you right into the scores, the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Some of them still ongoing for reasons that you will become apparent. We'll start at number 1. Lake Travis 14, Dripping Springs 7 in a game that was scoreless at the half. The only matchup of UIL unbeatens this week, and the Cavaliers get it done in, I would say, surprising fashion.
It was. When I literally had to go check. I thought maybe the score bug on the game was wrong when it was 0-0 at halftime, and I went and checked, and it really was. I think that this says so much about the two defensives coming ready to play, but more so than that, it makes you question kind of what's going on with these offenses. These are two teams we're used to seeing have explosive offenses, and the big question coming in was, would Dripping Springs be able to hold Van Hopping back? Well, clearly it seemed like no one could get anything going offensively.
Yeah, Lake Travis gets the win in a real taffy pull. Meanwhile, Port Arthur Memorial remains unbeaten with a big win over Beaumont Westbrook, exploding in the second half to pull away from the Bruins to remain unbeaten on the year. Very impressive. The game of the week in East Texas still ongoing right now. Kilgore and Lindale, but it's been all Kilgore tonight. An offensive explosion. We talked about it on Texas Football Today. What we wanted to see was, could Kilgore get that offense in gear? The offense decidedly in gear. And then game of the night, game of the week, game of the year maybe, Cuero, a wild comeback win over previously unbeaten Sinton.
It was shocking how this development happened. So Sinton was looking like they were really, really starting to pull away towards the end of the game, and all of a sudden, here comes Cuero, and they find no other than Walker Dietz, and there's about 35 seconds left, and they find Walker Dietz right in the middle of the field, and all of a sudden they're on the other half of the field, and I'm going, oh my gosh. And I sent in the Slack, I was like, I think Cuero might actually get this done. Well, they end up punching one in. Sinton tries to come back. They try to kick a field goal there at the no, that one was the field goal.
Sinton attempted a game-winning field goal.
Correct.
That Cuero ended up blocking to seal the win.
Wild finish.
One of the games of the year. We will have highlights of that coming up here later in the show. Back to the top 10 games of the week. One of the games we had our eye on down there in 12-3A Division I, kind of that triumvirate of teams. They start to battle against one another. Columbus gets a 28-10 win over Yoakum. Impressive from the Cardinals. Meanwhile, Bremond keeps on trucking. The number 3 team in 2A Division II has looked spectacular. And I know that we've talked about 2A Division II as being kind of a 2-horse race between Munster and Shiner. And respectfully, like, I think Bremond is raising their hand and saying we would like to be involved in that conversation.
They absolutely are. Going on to game number 7 there, San Antonio Piper handing New Braunfels, the Unicorns, their first loss of the season and squeaking out that big district matchup there, 28-24.
Meanwhile, in a huge one going on in Shenandoah, The Woodlands College Park and the Woodlands are in overtime, 31 apiece, waiting for that game to go final. We had Kyle Coates on Texas Football Today on Thursday. He wouldn't dare say it. I called it the biggest game in College Park history. They have an opportunity to knock off Big Brother and remain unbeaten. That is a massive game, not just within the Woodlands community, but also within District 13 6A. Up in the Panhandle, Statewide, West Texas gets a 50-49 win over Panhandle to remain unbeaten 7-0. Jeff Smith will be joining us a little bit later in the show from those 7-0 Comanches to talk about their win tonight. And then Prosper Walnut Grove. We thought it was going to be pointsy, and it delivered.
It was, but I'll tell you what, Anna was up big for a good chunk of this game, and Prosper Walnut Grove specifically in the second half really making the adjustments that they needed to come out on top. But it wasn't a very high-scoring game until the second half, and suddenly both offenses woke up in a massive district matchup.
So maybe as you see those top 10 games of the week, you see what we mean in that it was a big game, that it was a big week that delivered, but not necessarily in the ways that we thought it was going to. With some low-scoring games we thought might have been higher scoring, and then also some games that we didn't think were necessarily going to be close that ended up being absolute heaters all night long everywhere across the state of Texas. It was a huge night of Friday night at Texas high school football here in Week 8 as we round third and head for home here in the regular season. That is a baseball reference. The Dodgers are going to the World Series. We're also a baseball show.
I did not sign up for that.
Coming up tonight on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Let's get you set for what we've got on our Friday night focus. One of them, of course, district showdowns are coming into focus. That is one thing that we're keeping an eye on. We've talked about zooming in on the Friday night focus, zooming in on what these games are going to be. District races are hitting the home stretch. These games, all the games matter, Ashley Pickle. These games matter extra hard.
Absolutely. You're looking for the bragging rights of having a district championship. You're looking for seeding specifically when it comes to playoffs. These are massive games that really do mean something from now until November. Our next ahead on Texas Football Tonight is that get ready for some alliteration here. Panhandle powerhouses pack a punch.
You're welcome.
And I'm Ashley Pickle.
You're
we just keep it going.
It's Panhandle and Statewide, West Texas. We thought it was going to be one of the great matchups of quarterbacks, and it was. We're going to be talking with the winning head coach of that matchup between Statewide, West Texas and Panhandle. Meanwhile, we go to the Big Country. Big Country in Wichita Falls. Kaleidos Abilene Wiley taking on Wichita Falls Memorial in a critical district game. The winning coach will join us live on this very program if you hang along with us. If you don't, he won't. Like, we talked to him. He said that you, in particular, yes, you, I'm talking to you, you have to stick around in order for him to show up on our air. We are just getting started here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We take you all the way until midnight, way past our bedtime. Coming up after the break, Thursday night action from across the state of Texas. Some games you are not going to believe. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Hang out with us.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can go all pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. your Friday night home for scores, highlights, analysis, and big-name guests. I'm Greg Tepper. We're going to start off the evening with some Thursday night action. There's big action on Thursday night now all across the state as district play is getting hot and heavy. We're going to start in the DFW Metroplex with our Baylor Scott and White first highlight of the night. We are going to start with Denton Geyer taking on Flower Mound Marcus. And first of all, Zephyr Cray, the quarterback for Geyer, is going to air it deep. Tristan Shelton on the other end of this 51-yard pitch and catch. It's 7-0 Geyer. Back comes Marcus. This time it's going to be Burr Colger on the catch there. They're going to tie this game up at 7. Then Marcus would take their first lead. Cade McKnight will spin in for the end zone, 3-yard touchdown run. Marcus is up 14-7. Caden Cobbs, watch this, going to shrug off a tackle and get in from 8 yards out. Geyer takes a 17-14 lead. Then more from Cobbs, but this time from distance. From distance, I mean 66 big ones. Take it all the way in the second touchdown of the night. Geyer takes a 24-14 lead. Still in the second quarter, and more from the ground game. Cade McKnight spins in for his second touchdown run of the night. Geyer's down lead down to 24-21 at the break. Then third quarter, this time gonna be a fumble. It's a fumble. Ball is on the ground. Geyer, Johnny on the spot is Caleb Fowler, who's gonna pick it up and take it back for a touchdown. That would be a huge defensive play. Makes it 31-21. Then Geyer would get rolling again. This time behind Caden Cobbs. Gonna take the handoff off the right side. Makes a man miss in the secondary, and he's gone. That's the hat trick for him, a 36-yard score. Geyer rolling now 38-21. Then more from Geyer. This time it's Anthony Vizcaya Jr. who gets on the act, a 42-yard touchdown run. Geyer, 28-0 in the second half. They win it 52-21.
Well, we head down to the Houston area. Klein Collins taking on Magnolia. Magnolia's going to get the party started here as quarterback Chase Lowry will fake the handoff, keep it himself, and go in for 34 yards to the house. Bulldogs up early 7-0. First quarter, Klein Collins on the ensuing drive looking to strike back when Derek Finley would take it in on the jet sweep from 16 yards out. We're all tied up 7-7. To the second quarter we go. Klein Collins again, this time 1-yard diving score from Braden Scogan to give the Tigers their first lead of the night. Now it's time for Magnolia. Get ready to let the tennis match begin here. It's Cash Farrell diving in, and he ties it up 14-14. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I promise this isn't the same play. It's Cash Farrell again on the Wildcat, taking it in. Magnolia up 21-17 at the half. To the third quarter, and folks, the bank is open. Cash Farrell takes the handoff and goes 28 yards to Pater for his third score of the night. Bulldogs up 28-17. Magnolia putting the pressure on when Chase Lowry said, the bank needs a break. I'll keep this one myself. Now we're at 35-24. Fourth quarter, Magnolia keeping on the gas when Chase Lowry decides to show off his arm and hits Jaden Cooper in the middle of the field. He'll do the rest going 85 yards. Magnolia up 42-24. Klein Collins refusing to give up. It's Scoggin. He'll take the snap and a blitz of Bulldogs around him. He's able to hit the X button, get the spin, and go to Tice Hudson in open space. He'll take that one in. The score is now 42-30. Magnolia still on top. Collins again this time. Scoggins with the quarterback keeper, 42-37. Collins down by 18 at one point. He is going to hit Derek Finley, who jukes two Bulldog defenders and give Klein Collins the lead 45-42 with just 26 seconds left. They'll try to kick this field goal for the win from 51 yards out, and it's no good. Klein Collins came all the way back to win it 45-42. Sticking in the greater Houston area, this one is Katie Jordan. Thomas Ugate finds Jackson Allen wide open to put Jordan up 7-0. Then Katie, classic I formation, in runs Tremaine Hill. Now that gets Katie on the board. We're at 10-7. Jordan still up. Then it's the third quarter. Warriors again. Ugates takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and goes airborne to find Jackson Allen for his second score of the night. They extend the lead 17-7. Later in the third, Katie Jordan trying to extend the gap when Ugate, and it's picked off. When Katie needs it most, Caleb Ritter picks it off and goes 51 yards back to the house. Ball game tied at 17. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter, Katie back on offense when Jackson Franklin lets it sail to Cade McCall. 26 yards out and gives Katy their first lead of the night. To the fourth quarter, Franklin, he hits him, and then it's a little bit of shake and bake inside to go 44 yards untouched. Katy now up 31-17. And finally, it's Tremaine Hill who will ice the game here from 5 yards out. Katy goes on to win it in a thriller 38-17 on our Dave Campbell's Texan Live Rising Game of the Week. All right, we take it now to the score zone on the big board, and we take a look at some other Thursday night scores. Eagle Pass, a big win over Laredo Alexander, 34-3. How about that? Canyon West Plains, 55-7 over Pampa. Tepper, Canyon West Plains just continues to look like the team to beat out there.
Yeah, a week after taking their first loss of the year, but albeit to Argyle Liberty Christian, a really good team, they are back on the good foot with a big win over Pampa. Shelbyville ekes out a win over Timpson. They came back and won that game in a real slugfest out there in the Piney Woods. It was Malakoff all over Eustis last night, 56-0. Angleton continues to be an absolute wagon, 67-13 over Kingwood Park. And one of the games of the night, Frisco Wakeland remains unbeaten with a 35-28 win over Frisco, and sets up for next week a huge matchup between unbeaten Frisco Wakeland and unbeaten Frisco Lone Star.
Well, and that's a big seeding game in 5A Division I, because that likely means that Wakeland now could shore up that second spot behind Lone Star, who is obviously leading that district right now. But the bigger thing there is you'll probably go on in the playoffs to get maybe that West Mesquite or Newman Smith, but the real thing to look forward to is in the area round right there. You don't want to fall to that third spot because you likely end up playing a team like Highland Park in the area round, which Wakeland has done the past couple of years, now looking like that might be a Frisco problem. So a huge seeding win there for Wakeland.
Another thing, we mentioned the Eagle Pass win over Laredo Alexander. That's a really important win, I think, for Eagle Pass. That's been a team that I think has an opportunity to make the playoffs by getting that win over Alexander. That's one of those teams they're going to be in that mix for those 3-4 spots with. In my opinion, Laredo United and Medina Valley are the class of District 36A, and so Eagle Pass, I think, with that win over Alexander, that's the kind of team you need to beat in order to get into the playoffs. So big time action on Thursday night. Let's keep it rolling down to the Super Centex region, where Bryan was taking on Killeen Shoemaker in Thursday night action. Bryan looking to get their first win of the season. First drive of the game for Bryan, Cooper Murr keeps it himself. He's able to get into the end zone, so the Vikings take an early 7-0 lead. Shoemaker would respond. Rashard Hicks Jr. in for the injured Damani Dial Addison, and he will hand off to Brandon Brown Jr. Brown knows what to do. What can Brown do for you? Get in for the end zone. Grey Wolves tied up at 7. Still in the first, Shoemaker threatening again. Hicks to Josiah Walker, and he goes untouched. 14-7 Shoemaker's on top. Jump all the way to the second half now. Bryan's down 8. Then Murr is going to fire to Wyatt Brown, who's going to bounce off a tackler and go 83 yards to the house. Everyone's just left in the dust. He will take it down. Vikings are still down 21-19 after a failed 2-point conversion. But into the fourth, Bryan down 28-19, trying to get something going. Nate Diaz gets it on the reverse, runs into a pile, but eventually it's Williams Thomas. Watch this. He's going to take it all the way back for a touchdown. Shoemaker turns that into a win. They go on to win this one 42-19.
How about we go way out east? The Timpson Bears and the Shelbyville Dragons facing off on Thursday. Early third down for the Dragons, and the deep shot to Hunter Harvey is just out of reach. Timpson then getting off the field and getting into the end zone. The Bears strike first, taking a 7-0 lead. The Dragons, though, relighting the field, if you will, but driving down the field. And on this trick play, they'll find quarterback Gavin McDonald, who makes the catch for 6. How about the QB showing off his hands there on the opposite side of the ball? But hold on just a second. Laundry on the ground. Shelbyville called for the false start, so no touchdown. They opted for the field goal, and the kick is good. Timpson up 7-3. They take a lead into the half, up 14-10 over Shelbyville. Shelbyville, though, would go on to win this matchup. The final score being 17-14 in a critical district matchup there in 11-2A Division 1.
Yeah, 11-2A Division 1 is going to be fun to watch out there in East Texas because all those teams really know each other extremely well. Timpson and Shelbyville have been playing each other since basically time immemorial, which is what makes games like that really fun. And Thursday night action is going to start heating up more and more as the season goes on. next week's going to be week 9. We're going to be talking about potential elimination games for a lot of these teams. And so those Thursday night games are going to really start coming into focus during next week.
And you'll start seeing a lot of those smaller schools really focused on playing Thursday night games because either their state championship games are either Wednesday or Thursday. So they really start to try to get in a routine early if they think they have a chance at going to Jerry World in December.
Another thing to keep an eye on, and this is I actually noticed this past week as I was looking on TexasFootball.com, my favorite website. Week 11, a ton of Thursday night games because you have a lot of teams that have started moving their final regular season game up in order to make sure that they have time to get ready. They would rather have the long week to get ready for the playoffs, to do some prep and stuff. And so that's one thing to keep an eye on is when we get a couple weeks from now, when we get to that final week of the regular season, be on the lookout for a mega-sized Thursday.
And as the people that have to put together the brackets, the more Thursday games, the better.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
love it. We love early games.
Coaches.
Let's not wait until Saturday for games. Sound good?
Doing awesome.
All right. It is a fun night here of Week 8 of Texas high school football, and we have you covered all night long on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Coming up, more scores, highlights, and partying all across the state. We'll be right back after the break.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Fueling the Future Award, presented by Dutch Bros, honors exceptional teachers across Texas who go above and beyond to energize and inspire their students every day. These educators exemplify passion, dedication, and a commitment to shaping the leaders of tomorrow. Each month, one deserving teacher is recognized with a commemorative award and a $500 donation courtesy of Dutch Bros to support their academic department and further their impactful work in the classroom. To nominate your teacher, visit texasfootball.com/fuelingthefuture.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need. So you can get in, get out, and get back out there. Like, fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. It's the name of the show, preceded by the name of the guy who started the magazine and the company. I'm Greg Tepper. That's Ashley Pickle. Neither of us are Dave Campbell. We all aspire to that, but that's not us. With you until midnight as we are giving you scores, highlights, analysis, and, as promised, big-name guests. And one of those big-name guests is the guy who's on the winning end of one of the games of the night. A game we had our eye on up there in the Panhandle. A huge District 1-2A Division I matchup between the Statewide West Texas Comanches, 6-0 on the year, taking on the Panhandle Panthers. And wouldn't you know it, Statewide West Texas,
Points.
those Comanches, a 50-49 thriller over Panhandle to move them to 7-0 for the first time in program history. And we're pleased to be joined on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline by the head coach of those undefeated Statewide West Texas Comanches. Coach Jeff Smith joins us. Coach, how's your heart rate, my friend?
Man, it's a little slower than it was about an hour ago for sure.
This was a game that we had circled. We knew it was going to be a massive contest between two teams, vying for supremacy up there in the Panhandle in District 1-2A Division I. We also thought it might be a little pointsy. Did this game live up to your expectations?
Yes, sir. It did. We knew, going into it. Panhandle is so explosive offensively. We were going to have to match them on the scoreboard, but. We tried to game plan was to limit their possessions because they're so explosive. And, I'm not quite sure what the time of possession was, but, it seems like we had the ball forever and they score in one or two plays. So it was pretty much back and forth, kind of like we were expecting.
Coach, your quarterback, Cade Winters, has just been truly an exceptional player for your ball club. What makes him such a special player?
Cade's one of the he's one of the most competitive, most fierce competitors that I've had the privilege to coach. He's the ultimate team guy. He's the ultimate leader. He just he's all about his teammates and things he can do for them. He's a very selfless person, and I mean just a great kid.
Coach, you're in your third year there with the Comanches, and you took over a team that was just a year removed from a winless season. Now you guys are 7-0 for the first time in program history. What is the difference between that program maybe you walked into back in 2023 and the program as it exists today?
I'd say probably consistency. That's kind of our moniker. The stuff that we preach every day is about being consistent with your effort, consistent with your work, consistent with, how you approach everything, and being consistent on a daily basis, and approaching everything with, with everything you got. I think the kids have, the third year now, they've bought into it, and it's just become part of what they do. So, these guys, most of them when I got here were sophomores, and, they've just done a great job staying the course and buying into what we're preaching.
And Coach, finally here, what was the scene in the locker room like after this one? I mean, you go out there, you squeak it out by 1 point. It's a high-scoring affair. I'm sure emotions were high. How fun was it to see the smiles on your guys' faces when you got back in that locker room tonight?
You know what? It was, it was unbelievable. They, here at WT in our stadium, it's a unique atmosphere, just for the fact that, when our kids leave the field and they head back to the field house or to the locker room, there's an area there where the parents and families and friends and everybody meets them. So most of our celebration or stuff we do on the field before we leave the field, because there's so much traffic that keeps us from getting in the locker room together. But can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I'm sorry. Anyway, it was just the emotion and the excitement. And, we talked about believing in the process. And, I told them all week that, we didn't feel like the pressure was on us. We knew we were going to have to match the physicality, and we were going to have to play fast and be physical and match Panhandle from the start, because they jump on people early. And, just to see the excitement and the belief and it, it coming to fruition, or believing in themselves, and we got the job done, man. It was, I'm telling you, the atmosphere tonight, it was, we talk a lot about hopefully trying to get to December, late November football, and that's kind of the atmosphere tonight. I don't have any idea how many people were there, but it was packed and it was loud on both sides.
It'll be a party tonight in Stinnett and in Phillips, and the head coach of those undefeated West Texas Comanches, Coach Jeff Smith. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the win. Go enjoy it, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
There he goes, Jeff Smith. A remarkable win there for West Texas, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get some more Panhandle scores here before we come back to that. As you see, one of the games we had our eye on was a big six-man game. Two, I think, pretty surprising teams, two relatively new to the six-man game, Claude and Boys Ranch. It's Claude tonight that gets a 78-48 win. Dumas takes down Canyon in a bit of an upset there, 37-29. Canyon Randall ahead of their big game next week against West Plains gets a 24-0 shutout of Hereford. It was Groover bouncing back with a big win over Bovina. Hale Center 55-0 blanking of Crosbyton, and big night for shutouts tonight.
Yeah.
Wheeler 55-0 over the Cyclones of Memphis.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how big of a win that is for Dumas right there, because in 2-4A Division I, I felt like that was a game that was kind of fighting a lot for that third and fourth place spot potentially right now, because I mean you've got Canyon West Plains, Canyon Randall really looking like the two big teams that are likely going to claim that 1 and 2 spot. So that really sets up Dumas nicely. And then one other note real fast on Boys Ranch. They didn't get the win tonight, but they've obviously still got 3 or 4 games left this season and looking like potentially even more than that heading into the playoffs. If Boys Ranch wins even just one more game this season to get to 6 wins, that'll be the first time, or that'll be only the 4th time in their 63-year history that they've accomplished a 6-win season. They did it in 74, 76, and 2008. So, I mean, what a cool story that is out there.
Yeah, I've got a real soft spot for Lewis Kelly's ball club out there, Boys Ranch. For those who don't know, Boys Ranch is located on Cal Farley's Boys Ranch, Fairley's Boys Ranch out there in the Panhandle. It is at its core a home for at-risk youth, and so a really, really special place out there. And they're playing good football, dropping down the 6-man, and doing big things. One more thing before we get off the Panhandle. Let's talk about that West Texas win. Cade Winters, they score with about 2 minutes left and get the 2-point conversion for the win, 50-49. That is such a huge win for that program. That sets them up as the favorite to win that district. They've still got some work to do. It's a tough district, but that is such a remarkable win against a Panhandle team that have been absolutely rolling. We salivated at that quarterback matchup between Broxton Robinson for Panhandle and Cade Winters for
both
West
should
Texas.
be invited to the Dudes Rock Banquet.
100%. And both of them showed up in a big way. That was a sensational victory, I think, for Jeff Smith's ball club, and sets them up for really big things down the road.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I don't think that this West Texas defense is getting enough credit. And I know that sounds crazy. They gave up 49 points tonight. I get that. That's also a Panhandle team that's used to scoring an average of 57 points per game. So holding them under that is a feat that many teams have not been able to do. But more so than that, you take this specific kind of like outlier out of it. They've been allowing an average of 8 points per game. So like Cade Winters has the offense rolling, but Stinnett West Texas can beat a lot of people with defense too.
Yep, I think you're exactly right, and that is a really, really nice win for Jeff Smith's ball club. Meanwhile, let's go south from the Panhandle to the Concho Valley. Greater San Angelo is kind of what you would consider the Concho Valley. Check out the scores. They're in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight score zone. Ozona still unbeaten.
My dad is calling it the Ozona Express.
Okay.
And we are chug-a-lug-a-lugging along.
57-12 over the mighty Sonora Broncos. I'm looking for stats on Christian Villarreal. That is going to be, we know he had 6 touchdowns on the night. I can confirm that. Did Christian Villarreal as they win 57-12 to remain unbeaten. Mason takes down Harper 54-7. Here's a 2-pack of scores. Robert Lee beats Paint Rock 54-0. Water Valley beats Verabest 46-0. Neither of those are upsets, but what that does is it sets up Water Valley and Robert Lee battle of unbeatens in 1A Division 1 next week. In my opinion, the winner of that game is the number 2 team in 1A Division 1 behind Gordon. San Angelo Grape Creek gets a win tonight over the Buffaloes of Stanton, and it was Christoval edging Reagan County.
Okay, so I crunched some numbers earlier today. So take the Ozona score out of it right now. Obviously, they scored 57 points. We're still trying to figure out what Christian Villarreal's contribution was to that. But coming into this game, okay, Ozona is outscoring opponents 405 to 110. That's a big thing. I was like, out of those 405 points, how many of those points have Christian Villarreal scored? Because he has 30, before tonight's game, he had 30 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns, and 1 passing touchdown. So 33 different touchdowns. You don't add in the extra points or anything like that. That's 198 points out of the 405 points that Ozona had scored, meaning he has 48% of the points scored. 48%. That's insane.
Yeah, it's silly what's going on there, and you need to be. The Christian Villarreal thing is getting serious. We're now through week 8, and he is on a legit pace to beat the all-time single-season rushing record held by the Sugar Land Express Kenneth Hall. This is like it was fun at the beginning. Like I'll admit, like we like, oh hey, here's a cool story. He's off to a great start. It's getting real.
He's getting in contention for Player of the Year.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has to be a part of that conversation at this point.
Let's just be honest. Like we had I had a conversation, I think, with Carter Yates earlier this week, and we said that if Christian Villarreal wins or breaks Kenneth Hall's record, it's a record that hadn't been broken in 75 years, right? If he does that, or 70-something years, he's maybe the Player of the Year. I think he has to be the Player of the Year.
If he can break it, I don't see how you can make an argument other than that.
Nobody. It's been the record that's been untouchable for 72 years.
Because the consistency that it takes to get to that astronomical number.
You have to average like 330 yards a game, and that's what he's doing. It's a remarkable
Like, my
feat.
legs hurt even thinking about that.
Sonora and Ozona continues to remain unbeaten. All right, to the South Plains we go. We went Panhandle to the Concho Valley. Now we're going to go in the middle, split the difference. Greater Lubbock, South Plains. Check out some scores there. A thriller in the Little Southwest Conference tonight. Midland Legacy gets a 45-42 win over Wolforth Friendship. Amarillo Paladuro, folks, we've been trying to tell you. They get a win tonight on the road at Lubbock Cooper. Great win for them. New Deal keeps on rolling. They get a nice win over Abernathy in a close one, 26-24. It was Abilene Cooper over Plainview, 56-43. Borden County gets a win over Meadow in six-man action. And it was Tahoka taking a 16-13 win over Seagraves.
That Abilene Cooper Plainview district is just are just beating each other up. Cooper lost to Wiley, but then Abilene Wiley beat Cooper, and then they lost to Paladuro, and Paladuro beat Wiley. I'm talking like this is one of those that there are going to be coin flips in a Whataburger to decide who's going to win that district.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right. It is. It's going to be crazy because all those teams are really evenly matched, and there's still a number of. In fact, here's a lateral tease for you. We're going to be joined by the head coach of a winning game from that district a little bit later on the show. With Wichita Falls Memorial and Abilene Wiley, so stay tuned for that.
Borden County's 6-0 now.
Borden County's a wagon. Borden County's a serious contender there in six-man. We are not so serious contenders here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Roland along here on your Friday night party. Coming up after the break, we've got highlights from across the state of Texas, including the rundown says DFW, Houston, East Texas. Carefully manicured rundown that I'm probably going to throw in the trash. Stay with us, Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Texas Army National Guard are honored to present the Coach of the Week Award, celebrating one head coach in 7 different classifications. That's 6A all the way down to 6-man, and of course, private school every single week. Think your head coach deserves some recognition? Nominate them under our weekly Twitter and Facebook post. Those will come out Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m., and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. That's facebook.com/Dave Campbell's or at DCTF on Twitter. Thank you to Texas Army National Guard for helping spotlight the hard work and dedication of high school head coaches across Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Garage Door Doctor to spotlight 10 deserving teen moms across the DFW Metroplex. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Teen Mom Appreciation Award. Think you know a deserving teen mom? Head on over to www.texasfootball.com/teen mom to submit a nomination.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
welcome you back into the after party of Texas high school football. It's Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. Ashley Pickle and Craig Tepper bringing you highlights, score updates, and all the fun that you can imagine. How about we head to the DFW and we start off with some highlights from a game that we were highly anticipating in Campbell and Louisville. Campbell's going to start off the game with one heck of a touchdown. Look at this. Dylan McAfee, 98 yards right off the bat after a turnover that they forced from Louisville to get the Cowboys up early. Louisville ties the game back up with this catch and run by Landon Basil. Then Campbell back on defense now this time as we celebrate here for the Fighting Farmers. But Campbell is trying to get somewhere, and it's picked off by Tyrell Robertson, intercepting a throw there by Trey Williams. Then Campbell, it's Dylan again who scores that one. Campbell will just keep putting on the pressure. This time, Carter Zingelman, a 50-yard score on the quarterback keeper to put the Cowboys up. Then Louisville trying not to go anywhere, down here 27-7 with Trey Williams throwing this 20-yard pass to Derek Martin, who goes 25 yards after that for the score. The Campbell Cowboys will go on to win this one big, 41-23. After forcing 4 different turnovers in the first half alone, the Cowboys look like they just could not be stopped.
Word. Waxahachie taking on Cedar Hill, District 11 6AX. Waxahachie's Talon Strange going to power through on defense or on the score there. Then Waxahachie keeping their lead. This is Jerry Meyer firing Cohen Brown, who's going to go for the 40-yard pitch and catch there. Waxahachie again. This time it's Brown. What can Brown do for you? Firing out wide. He will Jerry Meyer to Cohen Brown. He will take it 75 yards to the house. His 3rd touchdown of the night. And then finally, Waxahachie going to close this ball game out with Kamal Jones bulldozing his way in for a score. Waxahachie, a statement, makes a 4-way tie at the top, 35-0. Other DFW area scores tonight. Paradise beats previously unbeaten Peaster tonight, 21-15. It was Forney. The Jackrabbits get a nice win over Rockwall, 48-47. Duncanville takes down Lancaster. No hangover there for Duncanville. They get the win. It was Argyle getting a narrow 25-20 win in a critical district matchup over Mansfield Summit. Colleyville Heritage, 42-41 winners over Arlington Seguin in that same district. Meanwhile, Midlothian Heritage goes to Crandall and comes away with a 17-point win.
And there was another game going on kind of around that area in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that was Sulphur Springs and Paris in a very critical district matchup. And how about this? Sulphur Springs ends up squeaking this one out, 38-35. And our very own Matt Stepp was in attendance and is joining us now to talk through this one. Stepp, first and foremost, obviously a great win there for Sulphur Springs, but taking a look back at last week against Salina, their quarterback Deuce Timmons goes out on the first play of scrimmage, and now it was kind of like, what is the backup quarterback going to look like? Clearly, it didn't look too bad. What did you see out of Sulphur Springs in that offense?
You know, I thought their backup quarterback Cooper Martin did a good job leading the offense, but this was about Sulphur Springs' offensive line and running back Jackson Hare. 5 touchdown runs tonight. He lined up at wide receiver. He lined up at running back. He lined up at Wildcat quarterback. He did it all. I think he was in the press box serving those great tacos to the media. It was a good night for Jackson Hare and the Sulphur Springs offense as they pull it out 38-35. It was a classic. 2 old rivals going at it. It was a full house tonight and really quintessential Texas high school football experience tonight.
Well, and Stepp, we were talking about this on Tep and Step earlier this week about how this is such a critical game for both of these teams in what is a very tight-knit district. Can you lay out what this win does for Sulphur Springs and then maybe what this means for Paris on the losing end?
Yeah, I think Sulphur Springs is still in play for that 2 seed. They have a Week 11 game against Panther Creek. I know talking to Coach Fairclough pregame, they were hoping to get some guys back by that Panther Creek game. They were missing, I think, 3 defensive starters tonight as well, including a Division I commit at linebacker. And obviously their quarterback, Deuce Timmons, who really makes their offense go. So I think Sulphur Springs right now, second place is still at play. For Paris, a tough loss. They've got 2 district losses now. But if you're a Paris fan, I wouldn't be too concerned because you have key wins over Aubrey and Lake Dallas head-to-head, who you're fighting with for those last playoff spots. So I think as long as Paris doesn't drop one to Nevada Community, which they shouldn't, Nevada Community, all due respect, they're winless right now. So you would think Paris gets that win. I would think Paris is in line for the 4 seed. And I just tweeted it out, Tepper. Paris is a heck of a football team. They might be the best 4th place team in Class 4A Division I. Stephen Hohenberger has a really good football team over there. They're just in the toughest district in the state of Texas in 4A Division I.
Step, I know that while you're at one game, you're also keeping track of all the other games across the state of Texas. We're kind of making our way across the state of Texas. What has stood out to you tonight about the Week 8 action across the Lone Star State?
It was a pretty exciting night. I think South and East Texas had some great games. The Sinton Cuero game, probably the game of the night. If you're a Cuero fan, my goodness, the last 2 weeks have been crazy for you. And Cuero comes back, pulls out a late win over Sinton. And then how about Goliad? We talked to Kevin Salazar at coaching school, and we thought Goliad had a chance to make some noise in 3A Division I Region 4. How about that win for those guys? 40-17 over previously unbeaten Goliad. Over previously unbeaten Orange Grove. That is a statement win for the Goliad Tigers. They are going to be. We're going to need to talk about Goliad in 3A Division I Region 4 for sure.
Real quick, Step, before we let you go, I want a legitimate gut check. What was the pregame or postgame grub today?
I got into Sulphur Springs late, but I was able to visit the famous glass bathrooms in downtown Sulphur Springs as advertised, y'all. Come check that. By the way, Sulphur Springs, very underrated downtown. If you wanted to take a day trip, Sulphur Springs. By the way, Sulphur Springs Chamber of Commerce, you want to sponsor Texas football tonight, hit me up. And then in the press box, we had not only did we have Chicken Express, but we also, the Sulphur Springs culinary arts students had tacos and chicken enchiladas. So it was big dubs tonight in Sulphur Springs, y'all. Big dubs.
My goodness, glass bathrooms, homemade enchiladas. This man is just living his best life.
Listen.
Look at the smile. He's so happy.
It's a tough life. It's a tough life that somebody's got to do it.
Please do not tell me.
So happy.
Please do not tell me any more details about the glass bathroom. He's Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas High School Football Insider. Stepp, thanks for your courage, my friend. We'll talk to you.
See y'all.
There he goes, Matt Stepp.
Oh, he's living his best life.
That game, of course, Sulphur Springs and Paris happening out there in East Texas. It's a really critical win there for Sulphur Springs. You mentioned it. We wanted to see what they looked like without their starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. Obviously got the job done tonight. Very impressive from them.
Yeah, that's a big, not only is it probably a big sigh of relief for the coaches, they're going okay, hey, but it's a big realization of the rest of the team of, hey, we do have another guy that can step up and kind of doing that next man up mentality, which will pay dividends with that crazy tough district that they're in. So congratulations there to Sulphur Springs. All right, let's head down to some more highlights. We go Houston way down to Conroe and Willis. Willis is going to start it off here with a 29-yard scamper. That's Javian Martin who will make his way in. Big number 85. Willis back on offense, hungry for more, and it's Jamarcus Williams who gets that one into the end zone. Conroe now trying to get on the board with a 44-yard field goal. Look at the boot there. Then Willis. Up he goes. That's Jermaine Bishop. He can play every position on the field just about, and that one will be an 85-yard pick six. The man is an absolute menace on the football field. Conroe trying to answer, and this one 6 yards out, it's Alex Myers who's going to bounce off the defenders and into the end zone. Willis remains in the lead. They'll drop off this 10-yard pass to Lincoln Frazier to Jamarcus Williams, who will run it in 55 yards for the score. Willis will go on to win that one 31-10. As we continue over to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight score zone and take a look at more action around the greater Houston area. LaPorte with a massive 67-21 win over New Caney Porter. How about Humble Atascocita in what looked like we were cutting it close at first? They figure out a way to turn on the Jets and beat Kingwood 61-34. Clear Falls with a massive win, 49-35 over Clear Springs. On the other side, we've got Katy Tompkins taking a loss to Katy Cinco Ranch 35-28. How about this one? Huntsville squeaking one out, 42-41 over Dayton. This is a Dayton team that just knows how to take it to the very, very end almost every game. And then finally, Strake Jesuit pulling out a massive, much-needed win there, 42-38 over Fulshire. What sticks out to you here, Tup?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, first of all, that Atascocita Kingwood game, we thought that might be straight up for a playoff spot, like plain and simple, the way that Atascocita has kind of struggled a little bit. And they end up waking up and coming away with a win, which obviously sets District 23 6A in motion. Dayton, you mentioned it. This is actually their fourth one-score game.
And one of them was in 4 overtimes.
Yeah, they don't know how to play normal football games, plain and simple. And then also, we can talk about the Katy District 19 6A. We already saw the Katy gets the win over Katy Jordan last night in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising Game of the Week. Cinco Ranch taking down Tompkins kind of sets that district in motion as well. You start to take a look at the way that that's going to end up shaking out. I thought that's a really critical win for Cinco Ranch because, again, you start talking about the teams you've got to beat to get into the playoffs. For Cinco Ranch, you got to be a team like Tompkins, and they do get that win, which puts them now at 5-1 in district play, which should make them feel pretty safe in the playoffs right now.
Absolutely. So there you go. Some look around the greater Houston area.
One more thing. I want to make sure we bring this up. Houston Strake Jesuit gets a win over Fulshire. Fulshire, obviously, a coaching change there. Stephen Hill taking over there with the Chargers. But Houston Strake Jesuit, we've been talking a lot about Christian Villarreal, who being this kind of breakout star. Remember, the guy who was the leading rusher in the state last year was Johnny Hebert, the running back there at Houston Strake Jesuit. He is still cooking right now. He's not putting up those crazy numbers that Christian Villarreal is doing, but he is a name to know there in the Houston area. Houston Strake Jesuit running back John Hebert. We get to know him. We are still rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, but before we go to break, I want to invite you to go to a website. It's on the internet. ForwardPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate. That is where you can nominate your gridiron hero for excellence on and off the field. The most prestigious award in Texas high school football, the Built For Tough Player of the Week. Of course, you can watch the Built For Tough Player of the Week show every week on Dave Campbell's Texas Football, wherever you're streaming this right now. ForwardPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate. We'll be back after the break.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need, so you can get in, get out, and get back out there, like fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We're rolling on. It's your Friday night after party. We are getting you caught up on all things Texas high school football here. In week 8 of the Texas high school football regular season, Greg Tepper, Ashley Pickle, to East Texas we go, where there were some absolute thrillers out there. We talked about Sulphur Springs' win over Paris there. Dangerfield gets a 76-59 ho-hum win over Hooks. Carthage goes to the mat with Athens, but comes away with a 54-49 win. Van takes down Gilmer tonight, 48-38. It was Texas High getting a win tonight over Mount Pleasant, 21-15 in a lower scoring game than I expected, and in a higher scoring game than I expected. Troop and New Diana combined for 100 points, but Troop gets 69 of them.
I think there's a couple of answers being had here. One, I think with the Dangerfield and Hooks one, it was which defense can get a stop. Both of those offenses are absolutely electric with Dangerfield's quarterback Isaiah Parker, and then Hooks has senior quarterback Ripken Birdwell. I mean, these are offenses that can score. And so shout out to the Dangerfield defense for being able to slow down that electric Hooks attack. And then finally, I feel like the other thing was Van and Gilmer. Mm-hmm. You look at Gilmer and you go, okay, they've taken a lot of losses on the year, but they've been to some pretty good teams. Van, on the other side, has a really good record, and you're going, yeah, but I don't think they've played the toughest level of competition. So, like, where are we at here? And I think it's a little bit of both. I think Van's better than what we might have thought, and I think Gilmer might just be in a down year.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of those games tonight where the record and the resume are kind of at odds. Mm-hmm. One of the games we had our eye on was New Braunfels and San Antonio Piper.
Yep.
Perfect example. San Antonio Piper had a 3-3 record, would have played a brutal schedule. New Braunfels had a 6-0 record, but their schedule was a little bit soft. I think you're exactly right that's kind of what we saw here with Van and Gilmer, although Van keeps on rolling. Meanwhile, we are still rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. There were big games all across the state tonight. One of them was a critical district matchup between a relatively new Wichita Falls school, Wichita Falls Memorial, taking on Abilene Wiley, going on the road to the big country, and they are coming back. It was Wichita Falls Memorial with a victory. It was 45-14. Wichita Falls Memorial gets the win over Abilene Wiley, and we are pleased to be joined on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline by the head coach of those victorious Wichita Falls Memorial Mavericks, Coach Mark Bendel, joining us. Coach, congratulations. I would imagine that this bus ride is a lot more pleasant with a W in tow.
Oh, it's a great ride. I'm super excited to be on. It's old hat talking to Tep, but
you've been putting up with me for far too long.
I feel you, Coach.
This is my first time talking to Pickle, so I'm real nervous.
Well, she's a lot more exciting than I am. I will ask you, Coach, this is obviously a critical win within your district. Going on the road to get a win like that, what did you see from your team tonight that you think is going to be most encouraging for you guys moving forward?
Well, our district's really tough. That was our first district win of the season. There's no undefeated. Well, I guess Paladuro's undefeated still, but a lot of good teams in our district. And we really need to, keep this thing going. We practiced hard after a bye week, and we were able to come out with a victory. Really proud of our kids and coaches and what they were able to pull off tonight.
Coach, your quarterback, everyone around the state knows how good he is. Not only tonight did he go for 312 yards and 4 touchdowns, he also tied the Wichita Falls ISD touchdown passing record with 70 tonight. How much does Joe mean to this team?
He's the true leader of the team, and Joe's put in so much work. For him to get that record, I think he'd be the first to say that it's definitely a team record. He's been on some really, really good teams. As a sophomore, he was at Ryder, and then a junior and senior here at Memorial. We really go as Joe goes, and, I think he would say his best plays tonight were on defense. We actually put him in at safety some. He made a few plays, so he was fired up about that, but we're going to keep him playing quarterback for sure.
Yeah, most certainly. Coach, you guys, you've been in such a unique position. Obviously, you were very successful there, Wichita Falls Ryder. Wichita Falls ISD consolidates the high schools, creates Wichita Falls Memorial. I'm curious now, 2 years into the job, what the challenges that you guys have faced, and how have you guys been able to put together such a quality product with such a young, although unique program?
I think just, the kids buying in, and our coaches investing in the kids from day one. The day we were named the head coach there, I got to bring the coordinators, and we started working out kids from Old High, working out kids at Hershey. And honestly, man, I'm really excited to get to know them, and we're continuing to build a program. It takes more than 1 year or 2 years to build a program the way that we want it, and that's kind of our goal. So we're going to try to keep things going in a positive direction.
And, Coach, obviously still some district play left to go there with teams like Lubbock Cooper and Plainview and Wichita Falls Legacy. happened tonight that you hope to see carry over into the rest of that district play?
Well, we know how tough our district's going to be. Our old foe, Lubbock Cooper, those guys. Yeah. And we to play physical. Our district, it's truly is one of those districts where anyone can beat anyone on any given night. And so if you don't bring your A game, you will get beat. And unfortunately for us, we brought our A game tonight. We were able to come out with a victory.
He's Mark Bindle. He's the head coach of the Wichita Falls Memorial Mavericks. They get a big win tonight, and now they get to prepare for their 900th meeting with Lubbock Cooper. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations, and safe travels home, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
There he goes, Wichita Falls Memorial head coach, Mark Bindle. The old joke, I'm sorry, that might be a little inside joke. When he was at Wichita Falls Ryder, and let me back up. Wichita Falls used to have 3 high schools. They consolidated it down to 2. He was at Wichita Falls Ryder as the head coach. And when I tell you Lubbock Cooper and Wichita Falls Ryder played each other like 9 times in 5 years, it was insane. They kept seeing each other in the regular season, the playoffs, regular season, playoffs. It'll be district game and then regional finals.
Regional finals every single time.
He can't duck them. He can't find a way around Lubbock Cooper. And that's, by the way, who they play next week. And so it'll be old friends reunited. But Wichita Falls Memorial, a critical district win there over Wichita Falls, over Abilene Wiley. Speaking of Abilene Wiley, let's go back out to the Big Country, which is where they're driving back from, and check out some scores. One of the big games of the night, Stanford gets a 28-21 win over Anson. That is a really important win for Stanford, and I think it's time to start really paying attention to what they're doing. I know they've got a 4-3 record, but that's an impressive victory, and their 3 losses of the year are to Albany, Lubbock Christian, who's a really good private school, as well as a couple last week when they lost to Cisco. They're back on the wagon, back on the good foot. It's a really important win for them. Ira gets a win over Westbrook tonight, 56-34. Impressive there from the Bulldogs. It was Wall staying unbeaten with a big win over Kahoma. Gatesville takes down Lorena in a bit of a surprise. Good win for the Hornets, 45-21. It was Hamlin. The Pied Pipers beat the Roscoe Plowboys tonight, 21-14. Let's just let that simmer for a minute. And it was Jim Ned beating the Buckaroos of Breckenridge, 49-70.
We kind of talked earlier about how the Water Valley and Robert Lee game is going to be very exciting. Well, let me tell you that when Jim Ned in Week 10 ends up playing Clyde for likely that district championship in 3-3 Division 1, that is one to absolutely have circled on your calendar. Yeah. That Jim Ned is looking like... when did they make it to the state championship? 2019, 2020?
2020.
They're
2020.
Looking very, very similar to that type of ball club that could really make some noise late in December.
You're exactly right. That's Big Country scores. Let's go from the Big Country to the Piney Woods. Back out of the woods, East Texas we go, with some scores tonight. Alto gets a 50-0 win over Lovelady. San Augustine, the Wolves, take down Garrison tonight, 31-15. Garrison remains the most confounding team in Texas high school football. Longview Pine Tree, Oliver Henderson tonight, 49-21. It was Grapeland with a big win over Cushing. The Sandys, nice win tonight. Meanwhile, Nacogdoches over White House, 34-24. I have said this before. I'm a Darby House guy. I'm a believer in what he's doing there at Nacogdoches. Tonight they get a nice win, and it was Crockett over Teague tonight, 33-12.
That's a really big win for Crockett. They were kind of that's another game that you're looking at going, okay, I think there's probably some heavy favorites in Palestine Westwood and Fairfield to potentially win that district. But when you start looking at some teams like Diboll, Teague, Crockett, all of those trying to kind of fight for those last little playoff spots, that's who it is. But Crockett being able to stop a really aggressive Teague running attack is very impressive, and I think says a lot about how that defense played tonight more than anything.
Yeah, meanwhile, San Augustine goes on the road to Garrison and gets a nice upset win, in my opinion. They are now 2-0 in that district, in District 11, 2A Division 1, and they've already got a win over Joaquin last week. Now they beat Garrison. They've still got Timpson. They got Shelbyville, Hemphill, who I think they're a lot better than, and then Timpson. Torrey Barnes' ball club may have just set themselves up as the favorites there in 11 2A Division 1. They look really, really good right now. So impressive there from the Wolves of San Augustine. We're rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight, spanning the state, scores from across the Lone Star State. Let's go down from East Texas, Miss 956.
I'm all about going down the 956. Let's go down to the Rio Grande Valley and check out some scores down there of what we're looking at. Rio Hondo, a big 59-13 win over Lyford. Edinburgh Vela, 16-0 over McAllen Rowe. Then La Villa, 62-6 over Ben Bolt. Sherilyn Pioneer able to squeak this one out, 35-28 over Roma. Santa Maria with a massive win over previously unbeaten Freer there, 42-14. And McAllen having their way with La Jolla Palmview, 52-0.
So we talk a lot in the Rio Grande Valley inevitably about big schools. 6A and 5A schools is dominated here, but you'll notice we tried to include some of the smaller schools here because I think Rio Hondo is turning into a real story. Rio Hondo
7-0 now.
7-0 on the year, and let me tell you something. I'm checking one score, make sure I get this right. That's right. Raymondville has beaten San Diego tonight, 37-27. So next week, mark your calendars, get your popcorn ready. It is undefeated Rio Hondo at undefeated Raymondville. Probably for the District 16 3A Division II title. And Rio Hondo has been a wagon, man. After they score 59 tonight, they're going to be averaging close to 50 points a game. They've been spectacular.
Well, and this would be the third time in the past 4 seasons, if they were to win that next week against Raymondville, that they would knock out that district championship. But I mean, Mario Lopez has been outstanding. He's averaging almost 170 yards on the ground in a rushing attack, 20 touchdowns. And then the junior quarterback, Matthew Lopez, he's thrown for over 1,300 yards. I mean, this is a genuinely good ball club.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think next week, obviously, Rio Hondo and Raymondville is going to be a spectacular ball game that is probably going to decide that district. But those are, right now, like we're working on a piece on TexasFootball.com about schools, teams you didn't realize were undefeated. Rio Hondo and Raymondville, 2 examples of programs that are cooking. I think just because they're surrounded by a bunch of big schools in the Rio Grande Valley. They make it overlooked, but we want to make sure we shine a light on
My Freer Buckaroos let me down. I was hoping for 7-1 versus 6-0 over Furio coming up for that district title game, but the Buckaroos couldn't get it done.
Man, tough night because Breckenridge lost too. Tough night for Buckaroos overall.
Yeah, not much of a Buckaroo night. All right, we've got a ton more partying to do here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. We've got highlights, scores, all of the stuff. Me trying to annoy Greg Tepper as much as possible. If you stick around, we'll be right back after the break.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State.
Dave Campbell's Texan Live's Athlete of the Month, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, shines a spotlight on one outstanding female and one exceptional male athlete each month who exemplify excellence on and off the field. This prestigious recognition celebrates student athletes who demonstrate remarkable athletic performance, unwavering dedication to their teams, and a commitment to their communities. To nominate your student athlete, scan the QR code on screen or visit texasfootball.com/athlete of the month. With support from Dick's Sporting Goods, we are proud to honor these young leaders who inspire their peers and represent the best of Texas high school sports.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
We've got no time to waste here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight because we have so many highlights we don't even know what to do with them. So let's go straight down to the 512, the greater Austin area, for a 26-6A matchup between Lake Travis and Dripping Springs. Here in the first quarter, Dripping Springs is going to take the punt. Can they get it all the way down to the 1? We have to show that. That is incredible special teams. How about that? Then senior quarterback Luke McBride is going to let this one air out. And no, it's intercepted in the hands of Liam Lawson. Dripping Springs would go ahead and pull that one down. We were scoreless going into the half, but in the third quarter, that was Dripping Springs with Lawson Attaway up the middle. Then now in the fourth quarter, it is a quick touchdown here as Patrick Colby goes and ties up the game, hauling that one in for Lake Travis. Then Lake Travis again in a very low-scoring affair. Van Hopping gets it done. They go on to win it 14-7.
Let's stay in the Austin area. Gerald taking on Wimberley. This is going to be Gerald's Braden Henderson is going to speed sweep off the left side. He is gone. Gerald looking to remain unbeaten on the year. They go up 7-0. Then back comes their Wimberley. This time it's going to be Maverick Jacobs plowing into the end zone. His 10th touchdown of the year makes it 7-6. Then more from Braden Henderson off the right side, and he is gone 13-6 after this touchdown down the right side. And Gerald looks a little unstoppable here. But back comes Wimberley. This is going to be Jackson Parker. Going to swerve through the defense, a 29-yard touchdown, and after a 2-point conversion, it's 28-21. Gerald. Then we go to overtime. Overtime. It's going to be Colt Wright with a 13-yard touchdown to make it there for the touchdown. Wimberley would go. Then comes Gerald, comes back as he plows through for the score. A little bit mixed up here. They would go for 2 and the win, but they are stoned, and Wimberley survives 35-34 over previously unbeaten Gerald. Let's go to some more Austin area highlights, or scores rather. Georgetown wins the crosstown rivalry with Eastview in what had been the biggest game in that rivalry's young history. Liberty Hill puts a 70-burger on Pflugerville tonight, 70-23. We mentioned Wimberley's win in overtime over Gerald. Granger takes down Iola tonight, 56-14. Austin Westlake takes care of business against Bowie, setting up next week's Battle of the Lakes between Westlake and Bowie, and it was Stephenville all over Marble Falls.
I don't think we can state how big of a win that was for Wimberley over Gerald. Gerald was looking like they might be the favorite there in District 13 4A Division II to kind of pull that out. Now Gonzales still might have something to say about that. The Salado Eagles are 3-0 still in district play, but Wimberley, it's funny because Gerald runs a gauntlet of a slot T. And you might be going, okay, well, a lot of teams aren't really used to defending that. And hold with me here, because Wimberley, any person that is over the age of a freshman has plenty of experience doing that because their longtime rivalry with Geronimo Navarro. Now, this year, under new head coach Glenn Hill, they switched to a spread, but all of those veteran players that Wimberley has know exactly on defense how to go up against a slot T, and I think that might have been the thing that really helped them tonight.
Who was the team that we said earlier in the show that has played nothing but one-score games? Dayton?
Dayton.
Wimberley has played 7 games. 6 of them have been one-score games. 6 of them have been one-score games. And I want to say they are now 3-3. No, they're going to be 4-2 in one-score games. Are the Wimberley Texans? They don't know how to play a normal game. They are completely incapable of it. You want to take us to the Brazos Valley?
Yes. How about we head down to the Brazos Valley, a massive district matchup heading down there to Pflugerville-Hendrickson taking on A&M Consolidated. Second quarter Consolidated already up 7. Tigers knocking on the door as sophomore quarterback Holt Goodwin takes the snap from under center and in he goes. They're now up 14-0. Later in the second quarter, Tigers on the goal line again, and it is senior running back Cameron Roston who turns and tucks a man into the end zone. Then Consolidated outside the red zone looking to score again, and Goodwin throws it up and it's picked off by senior linebacker Andre Wagawoo. And he's going to pick it off and take it all the way back to put the Hawks on the board 27-7. Late in the third quarter, Tigers have the ball back in enemy territory after the pick 6 and are able to get that one done. Into the fourth quarter we go, and it's junior quarterback Amarion Moore tossing the quick screen to fellow junior wide receiver Colton Welch, who cuts back inside and stiff arms his way in. They go on to win it 51-10. We go over to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight score zone, and we take a look at the rest of the scores from the Brazos Valley. Okay, Franklin, we see you. They get it done 64-14 over the not-so-swole bees tonight of Little River Academy. A&M Consolidated as the aforementioned 51-10 victory there. College Station with a big win, 52-7 over Buda Hayes. Then Jewett-Leon able to get it done 28-14 over Centerville. How about Woodville squeaking it out 23-21 over Anderson Shiro in a massive district matchup there, and then Somerville continuing to pile on people 54-34 the win over Bartlett.
Yeah, and this is, I want to be really clear about this when you take a look at District 12 5A Division 1, which is going to be crazy. That's the A&M Consolidated, Pflugerville-Hendrickson, College Station, Buda Hayes District. These were 2 really important results here. A&M Consolidated now moves to 4-1 in district play. College Station moves to 3-3. Buda Hayes drops to 2-3, and Hendrickson drops to 2-4. Now, there's still a lot to decide here. And this district is going to come down to the wire because I don't think there's a lot of breathing room between essentially like the first 7 teams in this district. And so there's going to be a couple of pretty good teams that are left out of the playoffs here in 12-5A Division 1. We thought that was going to be the case. And certainly that is playing out that way, as that is playing out in a way that is going to be fun down the stretch.
Well, and that's one. It's funny that we always talk about at the very beginning, we're already talking about playoffs because then the people that have to end up going on the road and playing those by-district games end up against 11-5A, which is kind of that Angleton, LaPorte, insane district. And so you definitely don't want to have that drive against those opponents. So finishing in those top 2 seeds is crucial in that district.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Basically, College Station still has an outside shot at one of those top 2 seeds. A&M Consolidated stays in the mix now, even with that loss to Austin Anderson a couple weeks ago. And Pflugerville-Weiss still in that mix as well at 5-1 in district play. Meanwhile, let's go to from the Brazos Valley down to the Golden Triangle, where there was massive action tonight. Let's go to Beaumont United taking on Barbers Hill early in the first quarter. First possession for Barbers Hill. Senior quarterback Brady Barrier is going to throw it out right to Trip Davis, and he will not trip on his way down the sideline. Grammer Poole throws a nice block, but it goes 48 yards untouched to the house, 7-0 Barbers Hill. Into the second half, third quarter, Barbers Hill, it's Brady Barrier, takes it himself, powers it from 2 yards out. It's 18-0 Eagles, and then Eagles back in the red zone. And as Jamal Jones says, "Feed me the rock," he will pound it in for the score. Barbers Hill blanks Beaumont United tonight, 25-0. Let's go to the score zone. Port Neches Grove's a winner tonight over New Caney West Fork, 39-7. They keep on cruising, heading into, I believe, is next week Mid-County? No, I think it's 2 weeks from now, Mid-County Madness. We mentioned Barbers Hill's win. Huffman Hargrave gets a win over Hardin Jefferson tonight, 56-20. It was Newton doing mean things to the Lions of Kuntz, 72-0. West Orange Stark takes down Shepherd ahead of their big game against Silsbee next week, and it was Hampshire Finette taking down Jasper, 35-12.
Yeah, that Barbers Hill win was really, really big for them. Again, this is a Beaumont United squad that is it's a newer program. They've got a brand new head coach in Jernard Williams, who was from the Beaumont area, so kind of coming back home, and they've really, really done a good job. Their most wins that they've ever had since 2018 when they started playing UIL ball was in 2019. So, good job by Barbers Hill, good job by Cody Semper to go out there and get a win that they should have gotten. But shout out to Beaumont United and maybe something that's flying a little bit under the radar in a district that is surprisingly very, very deep this year.
Yeah, I think so. And that is a deep area and is a deep kind of district. It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, that P&G West Fork game, we kind of mentioned it. West Fork's not a team to be trifled with. That's a dangerous team. Port Neches Grove's made short work of them tonight, 39-7, as they keep on cruising. I think the clear front runner in District 8-5A Division 2. It is now that time of the night where it is 11:46 Central Daylight or Standard Time. I don't know how that works, but I do know that we're going to fall back in a couple of weeks. But before we do that, we got to eat out of the fridge. Got a couple of highlights around the corner that we got to make sure you see before you go night-night. So hang with us here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, your Friday night hang. We've got scores and highlights around the corner and get you ready for Week 9. Hang with us.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
welcome you back in to Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight, the after party of Texas high school football. It is 11:48, and we're still partying. Do you feel like continuing the party?
I am exhausted.
Well, come on.
I have 2 children at home.
Okay, and they would want you to give the people a party. I've met your youngest. He wants a party.
Today was picture day at school.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they was.
Oh,
So they
I
got
can't
all
wait.
dressed up. Yeah, I'll make sure you get some pictures.
Okay.
Aunt Pickle will make sure you get some pictures.
Yay.
One of the things we want to make sure we track is how our particular alma maters here are doing at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Let's go check out, we call it our hometown ticker. You will see tonight that one team, the mighty Coppell Cowboys, came out on top of Louisville. 41-23, COPPELL, Coppell Cowboys. Lano and Everman idle.
Won the bye week,
Won the bye week, baby. That's right.
Like, rest up, get healthy.
Frisco Panther Creek takes down V&A Moreno's Lake Dallas Falcons. It was a tough night for the SCO. Frisco Wakeland takes down them. Arlington falls to Arlington Bowie. That's going to hurt for Mallory Hartley.
I can't do the cheer.
Pleasanton, though.
How about that?
Over Fredericksburg.
Wow.
Good win for Will Wilkinson.
Man, I wonder when the
Theo
last
Wilkerson.
time Pleasanton has beat Fredericksburg.
Atascocita bounces back with a win over Kingwood. It was Mike Craven's Cedar Park Timberwolves. You get a big win over Leander Glen. And unfortunately for Brooke Miller, her Keller Indians fall tonight to Euless Trinity. So we are rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight across the state of Texas. So before we get to some more highlights from across the state of Texas, I some overall thoughts on what we've seen tonight. I would say that we are starting to now get a better feel for what these districts are going to look like and at the very least, we're going to know what these stretch runs look like.
Yes.
We can't necessarily predict what they're going to be, but we can tell you what they're going to look like and who are going to be the principal characters within those district races. I think that is probably the biggest takeaway. You look at a team like Lake Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Lake Travis, I sat here at the desk and I hit the button. There used to be a button here. It said trap game. Sure enough, it was 7-7 in the fourth quarter. And before they ended up coming away with a win. But that is one thing that I think Lake Travis, I don't think they fell into a trap. I think Dripping Springs is that good, but that is the first of like a triumvirate of games that we're going to get between them. Columbus and Yoakum was another example where Columbus passes their test ahead of their game against Hitchcock next week.
Yeah, and it's funny to, in week 8, feel like we're finally just now starting to get answers about some of these teams. We mentioned a couple of those of being like, okay, weaker schedules maybe, or are they better than we thought they were? So that's all coming up. Let me go ahead and put you on notice. Week 10.
Yeah. Not next week. Tune in next week, though.
Week 9 has some very, very, very good matchups, but at least once a year, there is a week that we're going banger, banger, super banger.
Yeah.
That seems like we're careening towards that in week 10. And there could be some big upsets in week 9 that make week 10 that much bigger.
Yeah, I would say week 10 is going to be like Judgment Week, but week 9 is going to be a really big week as well. That's one of the things we're keeping an eye on as we get ready for week 9 of the Texas high school football season. As you see, we can talk about what we're doing this week on Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We can see what's going on in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. That's right. Monday, right here at this very desk, Ashley Pickle and I will be sitting here talking about Monday morning fallout, overreacting to the football weekend even more than we are presently. We'll get about 48 hours to stew on it, and then we'll come back in and we will have even more opinions on it. Tuesday, This Week in Recruiting, our rising crew, Mallory Hartley and Greg Powers, will give us all the action at noon. That is the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising, wherever you're streaming. And then on a Wednesday at noon, you can see my picks, the picks, high school football predictions for Week 9 of the Texas high school football season. That is, of course, going to be on Wednesday, and then on YouTube after that. So make sure you go check that out. We are rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Now, as promised, we are going to be eating out of the fridge. We've got highlights from across the state of Texas. I don't know which one we're going to first.
So let's all be surprised together.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
How about that? It is Corpus Christi, Cal Allen, and Toloso Midway. Cal Allen sets the tone by scoring on the opening kickoff. But how about this? The response from Damian Figueroa. The senior gallops 86 yards down the sideline, and only 30 seconds into the game, we are tied at 7. But now the Wildcats pull a reverse out of their bag of tricks. It's Dason Gomez who takes the ball down the sideline into enemy territory, but he loses possession right here. Oh my goodness, after a big hit. Was he down? The refs say he was. Let's take a look at that replay. Ball is up, comes out, but that elbow is what's going to get him down. A good call there by the Tasso members. The drive stalled, and that was the case much of the night for the Wildcats. Here's Toloso Midway's Jace Arrigawa with the ferocious takedown. They go on to win it 30-27.
San Antonio we go. New Braunfels taking on San Antonio Piper.
Absolutely. The first quarter, it's Piper driving down when the Unicorn senior DB Landon Jackson follows the eyes of the quarterback and has a straight shot to pay dirt, easily winning the foot race. And for the pick six, New Braunfels up 7-0. Then it's Isaiah Gatton steps in at QB for Piper, and the senior sees Cash Lancaster down the field. He'll take that one in, delivering that beautiful 73-yard touchdown. Piper goes on to win it 28-24.
Meanwhile, Waco La Vega taking on China Spring in a big Central Texas clash, courtesy of our friends at KWTX 10. Both teams coming off district wins last week. First drive of the game for La Vega, Courtney Parr hands off to Tristan Tyler, and the junior running back will get the angle on the sideline, and he is gone. Pirates go up 7-0 early. After La Vega field goal makes it 7-3, Parr is going to drop back and throw this moon ball. Jabari Thornton hauls it in and gets in for 6. Pirates go up 14-3. Then in the second, watch this play. In the Wildcat, takes it himself, gets stuck in the middle of the play, but keeps on going. He will get in there for 21-3. They go up there. La Vega goes on to win this one 38-7. As you see, China Spring gets on the board there, but your final score in this one, Waco La Vega wins it 38-17 over China Spring. I promise that's the final score. Meanwhile, we got more action coming in. We go to the Coastal Bend. Cuero taking on Sinton. This is Jackson Marie for Cuero. Going to drop this dime to DeZaven Bonner, who somersaults into the end zone. Tie the game at 21. 2 minutes left in the half. Cuero lining up to punt, but it's a fake! The fake! And they're going to pick up the yardage needed for the first down, and that would set up, once again, Jackson Marie to DeZaven Bonner. That's going to tie this ball game up at the break. Now, starting in the second half, this time, this is going to be Cuero or Sinton, low snap. Their quarterback, Bess, is going to haul it in but say, I'm cool. He's going to run for a 40-yard run. The drive would end up in a touchdown, but a remarkable heads-up play there from their quarterback. Then icing on the cake for Sinton, Marie is going to be sacked here. And the big fella, Ezekiel Rodriguez, is going to pick it up and take it back to the 35, or make it 55-35. This ball game's over, right? Ball game's over, right? Cuero gets back-to-back onside kicks, both ending here with a touchdown, and Cuero goes on top. Then last play of the game, Sinton for a go-ahead field goal. It's blocked. Cuero wins one of the games of the year, 56-55.
A big shout out there for 364 Sports Sinton, our friends down there who gave us that wonderful call. As we go now to our Built Ford Tough games to watch next week as we get into, I can't believe I'm saying it already, but week 9 of the season. Columbus and Hitchcock, Pleasant Grove and Gilmer, Austin, Westlake, Lake Travis, Lexington and Blanco, Canyon West Plains and Canyon Randall, and Water Valley and Robert Lee Tepper. That's an insane list of games.
Big boy slate. Columbus and Hitchcock is a battle of teams that graduated really heavy but feel like they have reloaded in the fly. Blanco looking very good. They're going to take on the Case Evans experience there next week with Lexington. Battle of the Lakes, I probably don't need to talk you into that. Lake Travis and Westlake, it's going to be a heater. This is the best year in Canyon ISD, I think, ever, as West Plains will take on Randall. And we've been talking about it, a huge 6-man game. I think the winner of Robert Lee and Water Valley is the number one contender to take down Gordon. Now, I think that maybe there is a gap between number 1 and number 2, but I think the Water Valley Robert Lee game is going to tell us who the number 2
If someone knows of a stream of that game, please hit us up on Twitter so we can try to get highlights of that.
Inject it. Absolutely. That is going to do it for us here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. A Week 8 edition is in the books, in the pocket, out of sight. On behalf of our producer, Vianney Moreno and Ashley Pickle, I am Greg Tepper. We will see you next week on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Goodbye.